So I guess I'm one of those people who was I graduated from here in 1985 in chemical engineering, and I was actually an outsider until 2009. So I was in the US from 85 to 2009. My PhD in the US, and then I worked for a while with the industry. I worked for actually what is now called British Petroleum. At that time it was called Amoco for about 5 years. And then I decided to sort of come back to academics, and I joined University of Florida Chemical Engineering Department. I was there for almost 9 years, and then came here in 2009, and I'm now a faculty member of the Biochemical Engineering Department. So I think until 2009, I saw myself as an outsider. Today, I'm an insider. So I thought that maybe since the discussion is to promote a two-way interaction, um, maybe I should just set some questions rolling. Actually, uh, I was brought in by Professor Sanghi. He said to me कि हमने नवीन नगर को बुलाया है, लेकिन वो कह रहा है कि वो 2 मिनट से ज्यादा नहीं बोलेगा, तुम 2 मिनट से ऊपर बोल सकते हो क्या? So my job is to cross the 2 minute threshold. I mean, if I can achieve it, I think I have succeeded. Threshold is 2 minutes. Most of us haven't given much thought to it, and I thought that maybe I'll bring some things to the table. Essentially, because till 2009, I was doing all the complaining, saying alumni to complaining, but today I'm on the other side, and I have to do the defending. So, um, while thinking about these things, I sort of made a few notes about this thing. I mean, so as a starting assumption, I'd like to accept the fact that actually the alumni interaction, when compared to say other universities in the world, is quite limited. You have to start accept it as the truth. And I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, I was a grad student at Purdue University, and to this day I get you know, it's, I mean, sometimes I run away from them, because I mean, they're constantly badgering me for money and constantly sending me updates. I mean, I'm started badgering you yet, but it should be coming pretty soon down the pike. But I think the bottom line is that there is very limited interaction, and there is some need to dwell on why this is not happening. And I don't have the answers, but I thought I would throw some things on the table. I mean, so well, first of all, I think that I mean, uh, Mr. Mehra just mentioned that it's a two-way street, but I think although it is a two-way street, we need you more than you need us. And when I say we, I'm speaking now as somebody in IIT today. The reason is that actually, we need your inputs to constantly realign ourselves to the real world. I mean, some of us live in this little ivory tower, not making necessarily regular contact with the real world. And so, to the extent that you come and tell us, it's extremely useful feedback. I'm putting aside things like the financial inputs. I mean, it's really, really necessary for us to have your inputs. You don't need us as much as we need you. Now, can we do to get more regular feedback from you? The director commented that the strength of the people here is relatively small. So we throw in a couple of things that I think thought is we are successful, I think, in interaction with alumni in India. We have not been so successful in interacting with the alumni abroad. What we have abroad experiences batch specific, department specific little groups, but not a whole lot. The institute doesn't figure into the picture. It's like 10 guys from Karakoram hostel get together and do their own thing, or maybe 10 guys from some other hostel, and that to batch specific. Batch of 1989 gets together in the US. Not that much where the institute itself is involved, although he mentioned that there is something that is happening wonder why. I mean, second thing, my recollection of the way this thing happened in the US was, they would come to alumni would frequently come for football games. They would come for all sorts of events to participate. What is lacking over here that is not happening? Do we need to create spaces in which you can come and participate more often than this is a one-time event? Is that the problem? The second thing that I thought occurred to me is that again, this is going back to the nature of the association that we see here so far. Most of the people that seem to associate here, as I said, are badge and you know hostel specific. So much institute interaction is not there, and I think that what sort of occurred to me was, could it be that perhaps the institute is not creating enough spaces for interactions within the institute as opposed to interaction in the hostel? So for example, when I was a student here, you lived with people in the institute. I mean, you lived with people in the hostels. You just came to the institute, did your classes, and went back. So it's not any surprise that most of my social interactions were in the hostel, not with the departmental people. So whereas I've seen that in the US, every department has a kind of a big room, a common room where students sit together, they do their work together, and then they develop bonds with the department and with the institute. Something else that needs to be done. So I mean, I just thought I would throw these things, couple of things at the table, and then see how I have actually no answers. I'm just throwing these things out at you to see if you can tell us more about what we could do to have more frequent interaction and also genuine feedback on the way forward for us. Thank you very much.
We also have Professor Naveen Garg, who is actually, if you look at it, he's a BTech from the institute. And then, as the director said, that we wanted some of our BTechs to do PhD at IIT Delhi itself. And Professor Naveen Garg was one of the few ones who, being the top in his department, joined for PhD at IIT Delhi and has had a very successful research career. And recently, he has been bestowed with the topmost award which a scientist can aspire for in India, the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar.
Yeah, but I was never given the 50,000 that I got these days. I need to do another PhD. Yes. Yeah, so those are great times. I graduated 60,000. 60,000. So I graduated in '91 in the BTech Karakoram Hostel, and I liked the place so much, and I had an excellent advisor, Professor Vasilani. So I continued here for a PhD. Finished in '94. I said I want to join as a faculty. They said no, go away. You spent too long here. And so I spent the next 4 years in Germany doing the postdoc and working in Max Planck Institute. And the first opportunity they gave me to come back here, I joined again. And so since end of '97, it's almost 30 years now. I've been here as a faculty, the computer science department. I need not add, that it's a great place to study, to work, and all of those things. But when Sanjeev asked, I need to say something about alumni interaction, alumni somehow has not been on top of my list, because now I consider myself as a part of this construction. I mean, like 20 years being here. But last year, this feeling of being an alum was awakened when we had a 25th reunion. Almost 125 students of my class were here. We had a great weekend. A lot of people. And so I agreed to, to joining this panel, except that I was still wondering, what I can add. And then over the last couple of days, I thought, what is it that can be done, right? Really, it needs to be a two-way interaction. We all agree that IIT Delhi has perhaps not been as aggressive as it could in voting its alumni and interacting with its alumni. Much more than the alumni would want to, except that there are mechanisms are not so easily available. Right? So I remember, last year when we were here, we were in the department, we said, okay, we all want to contribute in some manner to the department. We had some discussion, there was no follow-up, nothing happened after that. We all, if there were a possibility of writing a check right then, we would have easily generated $10,000. But that didn't happen. So I think that's one of the things, and perhaps Sanjeev is making efforts in that direction, and so is the director, that we need to create easy mechanisms by which our alumni can not just contribute financially, but also in terms of their time and their other inputs. Easy mechanisms by which that can be done. Right? If by a click of a button I can send $1,000, it's very likely that a lot of my colleagues will contribute that. Besides that, there are many other ways I feel the alumni can contribute. I'm now talking from the insider's perspective and looking at how the alumni can help us. Over the 20 years, being here, I realized, what are the handicaps we face in our research, in our professional development. And there are many ways, and this has been pointed out, right? We live in a system that is constrained in many manners, and the alumni can help us navigate that system much better. There are a bunch of things, right? So I just jotted out a couple of one thing that we are very poor at today, and in fact all IITs in particular, is technology development. Like we do something here in the lab, and that never reaches the field. And why does it not? Because there is this huge distance from the lab to the field, and none of us are good at it. Right? We are academics, so we are very good at proposing theories. We are very good at validating them, proposing prototype solutions. But for it to be taken further requires an expertise we don't really have. Most of us. Some of us do have. Some of us do have that. Many of us do not. Can there be a model we can build where alumni can actually this would be for the industry to invest, but I'm saying alumni, and I'll come to why I'm saying alumni shortly. Set up maybe a lab. So my wish here would be something like a lab setup with help from alumni, where they're actively involved, not just in the funding, but also in the time. Maybe they're experts in a certain area. The lab is jointly managed by that alum and the faculty concerned. There are research engineers. So again, now this brings me to another important. I'm going to details, but this is just to show that there are models that we can create which can really help both the alumnus. So we can have maybe we're very good at we have lots of excellent students. We have excellent. I have an intermediate research staff missing, which causes a lot of our ideas to not go anywhere. Right? You really need to take an idea and to develop it into something much bigger for it to have value. Can that research staff, can that research engineering staff be provided by the industry engaged? Like, can they deploy their own people? Can they work together with us, the students, the engineers, the faculty all together? And the advantage of such a model could potentially be that you have people working very closely. The research is happening, the development will also happen in the same place. There is all kinds of expertise available. Can we create such a model in which there could be contributions from the alum, from the faculty, from the students, and we could eventually take a product, develop really a complete technology, take a product. This is what I had as a potential model, which even if we could create 5 such labs in the next 5 years, the model, this is something we've not done in 50 years, so it will be a big change for an institute. And why do I think an alum can be more relevant here than just an industry partner? Because there is a level of trust we have with our alums. Because many of these things don't work out because of various IPR issues and data confidentiality issues. But we have a level of trust with our alum, and if we could make that leverage, we could use that to build such models. I think that would be a great way. I have exceeded my 2 minutes, so I'll stop here. But I'm sure there are plenty of such things that we can do. We need to create a dialogue with the alumni and a sustained dialogue at that. Make it more broad-based, create mechanisms by which our alumni can contribute, easy mechanisms. Thank you.
We continue the panel with Mr. Chadha has to leave because I think we have the panel open. We'd like to hear from our alumni about whatever suggestion they have. Please. I think there must be somebody in the back. Yeah. Maybe you would like to introduce yourself and then, yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen here. Thank you.
Please introduce yourself. And
Yes, sure. My name is Pradeep. I graduated, and two questions that I have: one for Dr. Sanghi, and one for Professor Naveed. Very quick question to Professor Sanghi, and I follow it up immediately with Professor Naveed. Consecutively coming to you. One is excellent work done by your website. The only question is, in this age and time of internet, social networking, there's bundle of it, Twitter, Facebook, blah blah blah, whatnot, Instagram. How LinkedIn? How do you really place yourself as a user, even if it's so specific and targeted, does not get bogged down by one another social network, and you compete amongst Facebook, LinkedIn, and make yourself stand. One question, Professor Naveen. Let me just tell you this one very quick little example. Very good suggestion that you got, but my own experience with IIT Delhi is very interesting. What I have learned here. Thank you for the IIT for doing all that they could do, and also for not doing that all that IIT could do for me. Because in 2003, I came up here after graduating with a business idea. They're like, oh, it's nonsense. And by showing doors, basically what it allowed me an opportunity to try it my own self. And thankfully, now I'm fairly successful business. Why? And so by not doing what IIT did, could do, actually they helped me grow, become a better person and achieve the way what I could have. Nonetheless, well, the question is, now I'm at a turning point where I think I am involved and my organization is involved. Time at a turning point where I feel very strongly that some of the charts that director has shown, where the IIT Delhi could have done better if we were involved and engaged with IIT Delhi. For example, we are right now practicing intellectual property rights. We could have actually contributed to intellectual property in Delhi. Nonetheless, I still wonder, despite of the fact that I have a desire to really contribute what I could for the IIT, myself pretty restricted as to what in what mechanism or what system that I could really engage into. The systems that are right now, please, instead of encouraging me, discourages us to really engage with IIT in contributing what you can. Thank you very much, and you can take the.
About the platform which you talk of how we create a separate this thing is, I think, well, as Professor Garg also said, that your probably Facebook platforms and other things deal with only a particular batch or particular friends or something like that. Whereas this through the alumni portal, I guess you get to get a full sense of IIT, and what activities and things going on at IIT, information to you, which some general information, different things going on at IIT, you now start receiving them from our portal, which till now was not happening. So IIT as such was not reaching out to you. What we expect to do is that individual things we will start to events, etc. And those will be starting to, we'll start to push that out. So which otherwise on Facebook, etc. would be only, maybe it depends on your group if somebody put that information. So this is something like a IIT Facebook page in some sense for that. And of course, other things are also there, things which you would like to post and so on.
So I do not know what the question you're asking me is, whether we should not be teaching you something. Did you say want to say that? Or I think what you wanted to say was, you are feeling we do not really know how to engage with IIT. When you once made an effort, you were not welcomed. And I agree, right? But we need to create. So this is what I'm strengthening. This is perhaps my first point, that we need to create some kind of a sustained dialogue with our alumni at all levels. We need to create some mechanism by which not just 5 alumni, but 500 or 5,000 alumni can continuously be engaged with IIT. And of course, you can't expect 5,000 people to be talking to the director or to the dean or faculty. By mechanisms, for instance, why not we have, let's say, people working in a certain sector, let's say intellectual property, right? All the alum working in that particular vertical, they get together. Let's say IIT provides a mechanism for them to be able to do that. They get together maybe once in 6 months. They discuss. They have a small workshop here. They find out how IIT can contribute. They talk to each other. Maybe some of us will join in that activity. Maybe we will realize that this is something that we have the expertise to contribute in, and thereby take it forward. So IITs can perhaps provide the spaces for these kind of discussions to happen, but most of these discussions, to begin with, should, I think, happen amongst the alumni themselves, the alumni themselves, and we should, as I said, IIT should provide a mechanism for it to take it forward.
Good afternoon, and I must congratulate the Institute for organizing this kind of event. And believe in me, I was waiting for. The whole year I went for Alumni Meet and AGM, and I make sure every time I make it to the event. That's little background. I'm still a student at IIT Delhi. I'm doing my PhD at the Department of Management Studies on Smart Cities, and I was an MBA in Department of Management Studies. My specific question here is, we have seen in the Stanfords and the Yale and the Harvards and the various Ivy schools, there's an endowment fund which gets constituted, designed, which is long-termish and does generate revenue. I won't use the word income. I would rather say value, create value for the institute as well as the community. So we should look forward to institute this kind of endowment fund which engages the alumni, 45,000 people at network. That's one point. The second is a little different, which I'm saying the vision for the institute as a campus. As in, can we look at the IIT campus in 10 years from now, carbon positive? Can we look at IIT campus as 10 years from now, water positive? So, so these kind of visions spur a lot of innovation projects within the campus. We have seen those similar kind of innovation projects happening in Stanford and these kind of university campuses, not just in US, even Cambridge and Oxford. So, these are the two thoughts I would leave with, and your inputs, please, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be brief because so many people go on here. Well, about the corpus, well, you will realize corpus is one of the things that even if you look at in the portal, corpus is there. But our feedback from the alumni generally is that they would rather like to give for specific causes than for a general corpus. This is time and again a lot of people have told us we don't want to contribute for a general fund. But of course, I think the general fund will help us much more. Perception often is we would like to give for a targeted activity. So that is why corpus is there and other targeted activities are there. And this what we presented today is just a first cut. Things will keep on getting added, things will keep on getting taken off. One of the things we are really going off is the wellness fund. See, for example, currently the retired employees of IIT, they are not entitled for any medical benefits. And the IIT has to pay it, and that too from its own funds, and for which the government doesn't reimburse. So we have been working out with great difficulty with this fund. And see, it's not just the faculty, it's the person who served you rotis in the mess. Even for that person, the after he retires or she retires, the medical thing is not taken care of. Now we have worked out an insurance scheme to work that, and it is costing a lot of the IIT exchequer. So if and even small amounts if you start with, I'm not even saying big amounts. If we go towards that, that corpus builds for that welfare fund, for the wellness fund. If things like this could happen, so that's what. And regarding the vision, of course, as you see, the director himself said about the bicycle plan. So we are moving towards this activities which will make us, like for example, we have put a 1 megawatt solar power plant with solar power is being generated, and we plan to extend it by 2 more megawatts. So all these things we are doing, and but I think we have been poor at communicating this with you. Will do. That is, I think, one of the biggest mistakes.
And this lot of innovation projects.
Yes, I think very much.
Very good afternoon. My name is Naresh Chandra Sharma. I did my master's in way back 1978, and I feel some of the turning point which happened was at IIT. And today I would like to thank and this meeting in August gathering. Turning point was at that time we were all aspiring for higher CGPA, and it was a 10-point grade. I was somewhere 8.8 or something, and then there was a thing that there is a in applied mechanics department. I think Professor Mittal and Dr. Kaunesh used to offer composite material as a elective subject, and that 3-credit course, of course, gave me 9 CGPA with other credits, but turned my life throughout, because I now today I represent in an advanced composite materials, and that was the turning point. Afterwards, I joined Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and did a lot of work in advanced light helicopter and LCA programs, which you see. Now, coming to the point which I was telling is, particularly for Dr. Naveen Garg, and I am attending some meetings in defense business. We are doing something called bulletproof jackets and vehicle armor protections. And this requires, like we do in bird hit in aircrafts, we do vehicle crash testing. We are looking for a solution which will give me bullet hit simulation. And this in Tata Group, I have also put a number of forums where TCS, Tata Alexi, all other group team. But real research has not taken place in this research area. And this is where I take clue from industry participation. Would like to definitely work in this. I have attended taking initiative, and I think Dr. Naresh Bhatnagar, he comes here and represents this. I have also visited 1 or 2 times this department, but the thing is the research which is at IIT and what we are looking for, as you rightly said, Dr. Garg, I think there is a gap, because the research which is going is a fundamental research on the material and that material. But today, for the industry, we cannot be waiting for this R&D research to be going on and then get industrialized, and at the same time, industry keeps on waiting for that. So we would like to, from Tata Advanced Material, personally I sure we would like to take this further. And this is the area where a lot of research, I would say that it's a really virgin area, not much work has been done in this simulation. which can be industry applied. Second thing is on bicycle project, as Director Rao was telling. We are in composite industry, and if suppose tomorrow IIT decides so much of technologies to be used for bicycle and so many hundred cycles to be made here, we can take that initiative at Tata Advanced Material Bangalore, and we would like to be part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your this thing, and we will be in touch with you. Can I ask a question, please? Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Sundi Iyer. I graduated in 1987 with a BTech in Mechanical Engineering. So I've been away for 37 years. 20 of those years I spent in the US. Last 10 years now in Singapore. Actually, I want to refer back to your question on how can the alumni, what can IIT do, right? So I had the opportunity over the years with, I'm a management consultant right now with Accenture. Over the years, I've been with McKinsey and EY. And I think they do a fantastic job of connecting with alums or ex-alums, right? Which is outreach from them to the people. And I think you would perhaps, I would argue that we need IIT as much as IIT needs us. And I'll say from a consultant's perspective, I'm an advisor to CEOs, to clients, right? So in advice, it's all about thought leadership. So I went to Case Western, very similar to you. I get so much stuff from them every day in the email, right? Taking money or asking for money, but then also professors sharing their research. I had the opportunity, thanks to IIT, to meet a lovely woman at Columbia. So she's a graduate from CSC in Columbia. Same thing. You know, they ask for money and they give money, but then they give thought leadership of all the good work that they're doing. So that's one way, you know, the IIT can give back to alums, right? So a very practical suggestion. And then while, and I mean, to your point, spaces are important. Today it's about virtual spaces, right? So we were talking, I think, we were sitting, Professor Narak was sitting next to me, so we were discussing ideas around, you know, how things work today, right? It's not so much about the physical space. It was great that we have this physical space, but what can we do on the Alumni Connect that was announced today? And could that be a platform where we really get together? And it could very well start small. This afternoon, I'm meeting with the 87 batchmates from the Nilgiri hostel, only 12 of us, but those 12 are a very connected 1/10 of the 120 people in the WhatsApp group that I'm part of. So we can do things virtually also, and you know, continue to do that. And last one I will make is, you know, after a big thanks to IIT for where I am and all of us are, I think we are very, very eager to give back and make it easy, like you said, for people to give back easily and in effective way. So long speech, thank you.
May I, sir? Good morning, Professor Sanghi. Wing Commander Parashar is my name, PK Parashar. I am from 1970 electrical batch. It was a pleasure to have heard the director talking about the ranking and especially about the electrical engineering department. In fact, there are 5 and 6 of us sitting here, the batchmates from 1970 electrical batch. So it was an honor, sir, to know that electrical engineering batch, the department is doing so well. It was a pleasure. It was an honor, in fact, sir. I have a small point to make. I have also been an IIT Delhi Alumni Association. In fact, an active member of the IIT Delhi Alumni Association, and 2-3 of my colleagues, CK Jain and the ex-president, are also sitting here. In fact, Lalit Mehra has just left. Once upon a time, we've been hearing very actively about an alumni center likely to be set up in the campus. Though we are landlocked and probably not have enough space, but some kind of a probably thought process was probably being gone into this. One KK Dhar, the ex-president, Kishan Dhar, he was actively involved on this project some 2-3 years back, maybe 3-4 years back. But subsequently, we haven't heard about this project, if at all, coming up in the sense. Suppose we have this alumni center where you have about 50-60 rooms available where people from US, UK, Singapore can come and stay. On a day like this, where we were falling short of people sitting in this hall, you may probably have 50, 60, 70 more IIT alumni sitting in this hall if we have some kind of this facility in the campus. As I said, once upon a time, this topic was being very actively pursued by KK Dhar but we haven't heard about this now for the past 2, 3 years. Maybe our ex-president sitting in front of me, maybe he can throw some light on this. Hello, sir. Can you, Himanshu?
Well, good afternoon. This is Himanshu Besh, 1970 electricals. Uh, 76, sorry. 76, yeah. Yeah. I have been an entrepreneur right through and have been trying to contribute whatever I could through various times. One of the, as far as the alumni center, I would come later. This was more, I would say, to build a thought leadership that we need to do. And during the past so many years, I have tried to use IIT facilities to do what Professor Garg is mentioning now. The main bottleneck comes in the form of the intellectual property and also in the first right to use technology. I don't know if those issues have been addressed, but if those are addressed, I'm sure a lot more people will come to. In fact, one project I got 40 lakhs sanction from the government where we were an industry partner, could not come through because of these issues. So I would recommend that this be sorted out. Also, for the hostels, if you are looking at something new, we need to look at a green building design. For 2, 3 years back, I had submitted a proposal that this is how it can be done. And in case it is of interest, we can discuss it again. So there has been a very good result in Chennai. I was chairman of Pan IIT, and that's how I came to know that they have a Chennai club with Pan IIT, and there people from all walks can come in and contribute a thought leadership type of. We need not have a residential area, but somewhere where people can get together, organize a program, and give in their inputs. So, because of my friend Prashar, I just want to thank you.
So regarding the alumni center, the ultimate check is the alumni association office was expanded, and there is a place where at least people can meet now. There is a sort of a conference room. Regarding staying facilities, of course.
Mr. Sangi, that office has just 2 small rooms.
Now the thing is, okay, then.
As member of alumni association.
No, but let me please complete the, of late, the Alumni Association has not been willing to make any changes. They have a same old constitution. They do not even have an electronic voting today. Can you believe they do not have even an issue like this? So, yeah, so space will be created and maybe in the extension campus.
I would like to, I'm first time attending the alumni here. I will be the only architect who is privileged to have done a civil engineering from 88 here and a PhD from energy studies in 94. And we proud to have won this year's National Green Building Award for the design of power grid township in Bangalore. So when I heard about Mr. Vash is the green, I would like to put my 4 offices all across India to disposal for anything related to campus development, improving the facilities, the civil line networks, the data center particularly, which needs a lot of energy inputs, energy efficiency study. Anything you need to improve your campus, you're willing to do and kind of thing.
87, so it's a pleasure to be present. Just a few comments, and Professor Rao is from IIT Bombay. So I live in Powai, and coincidentally my sister teaches at IIT Bombay, so I do get to know a little bit about them. So nothing to your point about researchers, etc. I think one of the things which I heard from IIT Bombay, and I don't exactly know how to do it,
is that their students have actually contributed to putting a fund for funding PhDs of professors. So these could be some research people that come and do work here. They have created a corpus. And I'm told that has dramatically improved why, and the reason why a lot of the top hundreds don't go there now. Apparently, much better faculties, how it is perceived. I mean, I'm not a judge of that. So that's one way that you could look at. The other thing which I see a lot of times is that, they have these little incubation pieces happening all around, and I see a lot of the student community out there in the cafe and stuff like that. So maybe that helps. And to the third point that Dr. Rao made about, whether it is by way of a corporate communication and so on and so forth. So I'm sure you already have some initiative running around that. But with IIT Bombay, I'm actually running a project helping them build that team. So I think while IIT Delhi has its own brand, we could learn from other institutes.
I'm CK Jain, 67 Civil BTech. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 35 years, and now I'm trying to promote startups. Well, in passing, let me just make a remark that startup is the flavor of the day, and somehow we don't see much about startups today in your program. Well, a couple of things I wanted to make up was one about a space. You mentioned that a common room kind of a space should be available. I agree, something of that kind is necessary. Only a couple of days back, some 3 or 4 of us wanted to discuss an idea, but we couldn't find a space here at IIT Delhi to sit and maybe get a cup of coffee. You sit in CCT, you can't talk. At other places, you can't find a seating place. Perhaps some existing faculty space, maybe the faculty guest room or the main guest house, this could be made available to the alumni for some such meetings until you create something more. That's one. Second, about administrative reform. A few years back, civil engineering faculty invited me to a PhD thesis as an outsider guest. I mean, they were doing the evaluation. I was asked to attend the presentation by the PhD student and give my inputs. Now, I did that for some 3 or 4 theses. And at the end, the faculty said, Mr. Jain, that's all wonderful. It was all done on a complimentary basis, but you are entitled to a TA. So he made him pay bill of some 825 rupees as the TA for all those sessions. And I submitted that bill. I said, no, I'm not interested. He said, no, you must do it. It's in our rules, and we must pay you for it. It took 6 months to clear that bill. Every month he would call me, that faculty member, say, Mr. Jain, I'm sorry, it has not come through. I'm following it. I said, just forget it. Let's not burden you with this. He says, no, it's my job, my duty. I'll get it. 6 months it took to get that 825 bill cleared. Now, my suggestion to the director would be that instead of the faculty running after such bills, because the faculty said that this is our story. I'm doing it for you, but this is what I do for my bills. Now, instead of faculty running after these bills, we should assign some clerks in the administrative section, in the academic sections, and they should be in touch with the faculty that, sir, your bill is here, but your signature is missing here. Or, instead of the faculty shouldn't worry about it.
Things have changed a lot.
Okay, if it has, once you submit the bill, then the faculty should forget about it.
No, I think
that's it.
It's probably an old time.
All right,
Now
I'm talking about 8 years back.
It doesn't happen anymore.
All right.
Now it's much very.
Okay, the third point was about the bicycle thing. We had thought of it at one time, and my simple proposal was that we get one of the cycle manufacturers to put in 500 bicycles on the campus, paint them in a different color, just put them here for free use by anybody, anywhere. All we do is create stands at different places. Anybody picks up a bicycle at any point, uses it and drops it at the nearest cycle stand. No big technology about it. Let's try this out, and this could be part of part of the industry CSR effort. Let's give it a try. If the students are doing it, I'm sure we can make it a success. Thank you.
So why just since this issue has come up more than once, this issue of creating a space for alumni.
Yes, sir.
And I personally think also that it's something that's really important. But this is something that is certainly done all over the world by all major universities. I know people here who go suddenly say there is an Oxford or Cambridge get together somewhere, they have these annual meetings. This is so far away from their alma mater. I think that at a minimum, not necessarily even inside the campus, but maybe outside the campus in a shorter space. If you create a space which is like an alumni club, this is where they can come together, they can play bridge, they can, at least better if it's outside the campus, you can at least have a drink or two too. I mean, on campus, it's restricted to Coke and Limca. So if it's outside the campus, if the institute can do it, it creates not just a place where, as you said, we can meet. It is also a place where bonds are created, where people meet together. I think that is all over the world they have it. It's only here that I know that when I meet my classmates, restaurant and meet for a long enough period of time does not create the bond with the institute that you want to create. I mean, if you're meeting in Housecast Village, what does it have to do with the institute with space on campus? I think, much more useful thing to that.
First year, I think we also have to end the session. So last, I think.
I'm Trivikram. I'm a 2016 pass out. I think I'm the only one here. Friends are not here. I was expecting more of them to be here. So I just want to make 2 points. So in the as we are discussing, this should be a two-way interaction. As you can see, right after our graduation, right after we took our degrees, the connect is lost. I couldn't see many friends here. So in that aspect, as Lalit sir and director sir were pointing out, it's not that we are doing something great or giving something great to the institute. It's just that we are paying back, or it's a responsibility. And I feel that this sense of responsibility should be inculcated from the college days itself, of giving back to the institute. Many of the students, when we are in college, we do it just for our credits, many of us. So probably some activities or some programs could be designed in those lines, which giving back to the institute is incorporated as some credit thing, probably. I'm just putting out my thoughts in those lines. And second thing, just right after graduation, probably we may not be in a situation to financially contribute since we are sorting out our careers, but we could definitely spend some time and energy, and there should be proper platform to channelize this energy and time, so that in the long term, when we have stabilized ourselves and in our careers, probably we can then contribute even in financial terms as well. So these are the 2 points which I want to.
You'll be the last one then.
I'm Mr. Badmet, currently Vice Chancellor at a private university at Calcutta called University of Engineering Management. I've done my PhD from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, and then since 79-80, we started off with this Center for Systems and Management Studies. After some time, the word systems got kind of, I was wondering when management will also get kind of. But we became a department of management studies, and one of the first in the IIT system to have an MBA program. Now, We have some of our alumni here who get their MBA and also doing the PhD. Look at this whole thing from a systems point of view, from an input to a transformation to an output. Now, the inputs that are required, whether it is for our course curriculum or even in our admission process, used to involve preferably the alumni from industry in a group discussion and the personal interviews. Now, even during our teaching purposes, we used to try to involve them. Alumni used to say, tell us how we can help you. We used to ask them for help, but when it came for or not, then that was the biggest problem. They could be given a few sessions, half maybe a module or so, not the whole thing. So this little bit of a problem that existed, a PhD or not a PhD, and maybe the industry experience, which was very important, that could be used in the MBA program. Unfortunately, most people think alumni are looking only for financial support. No, I think if that should be the last thing coming. There are many other ideas, like for instance, yesterday there was a conference on the quality conclave on quality, innovation, technology development. I was very happy to note one of our IIT Delhi alumni, again from the electrical engineering department, from Philips, talking about how innovations have taken place for even light and how sensors have come in terms of flexible seating arrangements and many of those things. We are all disciplined, mechanical, electrical, etc., and hostel oriented. I was fortunate enough that there were two interdisciplinary research programs. One was for entrepreneurship program, and the other one was for applied systems research program. Somehow they got disbanded. I presided over the dissolution part of the ASRP, but I think interdisciplinary work is very important. We seem to get MOUs with people abroad, but people from within the institute, departments, very difficult to get on. Because finally in their evaluation, who is bothered about what contribution I'm making to the center? It then comes back to what you're doing in the department. I know I'm going a little bit longer than what I've said. We had Shekhar Dutt, the ex-governor of the Chhattisgarh, who was also a chairman board of governors. He in fact pointed out that how, you mentioned about solar energy, that how from here, Modi has set a target right up to there. Now, how to go from here to there? He was thinking of a think tank where you combine people from IIT Kharagpur, maybe B College Shipur, and UEM or something like that. I was wondering whether we here, with so much of expertise in solar and other things, in terms of the design, how to have that quantum jump, some of the realistic design problems and research problems that can be taken up, that should be very good. Again, from a management point of view, supply chain management in this demonetization and the digitization process is so very important. Looking it up, theory of queues, etc., people standing in the queues, how is a real problem, a real case study. Or even in terms of the data industry versus, but there are a lot of case studies which can be brought into the classroom. So unfortunately, we are still textbook oriented and the textbooks are pretty. So I like to leave it at this. This business about a common room, a people, alumni meeting. I'm very surprised not to see many of the office bearers of even this year. Here, I come all the way from Calcutta because I'm at quality and I had one on the OR society. Lots to do with analytics. And a very interesting thing that was there, the number of breakups that take place maximum in December. What
I think I'll have to talk some bandwidth as
yeah, I agree with that. We teach time management, I'm very bad. Thank you. But thank you for the opportunity.
So I think that's probably
okay,
one last, okay, you.
I'm B.S. Chaudhary. I did my MTech from this institute in 1993. Actually, I came during my institute days. I came to know that getting through campus job is very difficult for academicians. But I was very good there also. In Birla Group, which is now the institute is chaired by Mr. Birla, and I am working presently with the BITS Mishra in mechanical ink department after doing this SIPCO job, which is now again a Chaudhary group, and incidentally I am also Chaudhary. So, so presently means after my SIPCO job, after this masters, I was enrolled in this IIT Delhi for my PhD, and because I had more than 50 credits in masters, and again I was asked to finish some more credit for PhD, which was very difficult for industrial people. So I request IIT to consider about this PhD program uh, regarding this credit system or credit requirement. So this is my first request. And another thing is that in Ranchi, BITS Mishra, there we have a PEN IIT alumni assistant, and I had organized one event for this all PEN IITs there. And that after that I was made the vice president. So now I want some fund for this alumni association, which is not there. There is no interaction, proper interaction with IIT Delhi. So these are some of the issues.